You're listening to the Dynamic Thinking Project podcast. This is episode 49, and today's topic is the Reptilian Race. Hey everyone, Aram Musalli here. Welcome to the Dynamic Thinking Project podcast. If this is your first time listening, then thanks for coming. This podcast is released every Friday, and show notes are found at the website, themindtechinstitute.com. It's all one word. Come back often and feel free to add this podcast to your favorite RSS feed or iTunes. You can also follow me on Twitter and Facebook. All links are in the show notes and website. And now, let's get started. Now, this is gonna be a very interesting episode, and as usual, lots of people relate. Other people will think it's utterly ridiculous. And many other people, as most of my listeners, will keep an open mind because we simply don't know what we don't know. With that being said, and getting the intro out of the way, if you are interested in learning and becoming a fully qualified hypnotherapist, neurolinguistic programming, NLP practitioner or master practitioner, a life coach or even a counselor, they're all now available to study online. You can visit mti.edu.au or themindtechinstitute.com, and you'll find all these courses along with many other courses once you click on the online courses tab. And all our diplomas and advanced diplomas are accredited and recognized worldwide. For more information, all can be found online, themindtechinstitute.com. So far in the previous episodes, we talked about aliens, demons, angels, jinn, etc. And I really wanted to shift gear and start another set of topics, but I've received a few emails suggesting to share my opinion about the reptilian subject. So I thought it would be a good idea, since we are still talking about similar or related topics in the last several episodes, and also before we start talking about other things. However, we're not going to talk about some famous people who might be reptilians or seen shifting their eyes or whatever on TV, or even some delusional people who claim they are reptilian-human hybrid with the Rh negative blood type, forming some cultish New Age nonsense. Today, I'm going to share with you what I know based on theology, languages, and cultures. And we'll try to do that within 20 to 25 minutes, hopefully. Although this is a very big topic, but we'll go with the flow. Now, some people think that the reptilian race topic is something just started recently, but the fact is, it's very ancient. And I'm talking about some ancient carvings depict such race tens of thousands of years ago. So, who or what are these reptilians? Actually, do they exist? Now, I'm not saying they do exist or not. I've never seen or met a reptile person before, but except a blue-tongued lizard that I saved once, and I kept it as a pet, but that's about it. But typically, this race or these reptilians are reported to be, as I'm looking at an image now, are about 8 feet tall, upright, with lizard-like scales, greenish to brownish in color, 4-fingered, webbed hand with claw-like. Their faces are a cross between a human and a snake, with a central ridge coming down from the top of the head to the hips or the pelvis area. Their eyes are very large, almond-shaped with a slit-like pupil, just like a reptile or a snake, and eye color is red. Now, here's the thing. Let's think outside the box for a bit. I know this may sound absurd, but so as the theory of evolution. I mean, to a certain extent. And it's still just a theory. A good one. But let's think of it this way. Reptiles appeared around 320 million years ago during the Carboniferous period. And dinosaurs are a derived group of reptiles appeared during the Triassic period, between 250 million years ago. And you know the rest of the story. Around 65 million years ago, an asteroid hit Earth and wiped out some 50% of the planet and animals. But what about if some of these reptiles went underground and started evolving just 40 million years ago? 40 million years ago, that's 15 million years after the asteroid, I believe it's called Chicxulub, hit Earth, and that's almost 39 millions before the Homo erectus. I mean, according to science, Homo erectus appeared only around 1.3 million years ago. It wasn't even a human yet, just a walking ape, and using some stones, and they say it's tools. And that walking ape evolved, and moving forward in time, the Sumerian language is one of the earliest known written languages. The Proto-Literate period of the Sumerian writing was around 3000 BC. In this period, records are purely logographic, with no linguistic or no phonological content. That was only 3000 BC. That's around 5000 years ago. Now, think about this. The first airplane was invented by the Wright brothers in 1903. During that time, there was hardly any cars, and the roads were not even paved for cars. Now, how about the first time humans launched an artificial satellite? It's called Sputnik, the Soviet Union, 1957. Do you remember when was the first phone app was released? It was in 2008. That's right, only 10 years ago, or better say almost, because it would be 10 years in July 2018. Look how fast we started evolving technologically and even physically. Of course, according to science. So within 5,000 years, humans have invented 7,106 living languages, been to space, split the atom, invented the quantum computers, have 15,000 nuclear weapons ready to send us back to the Jurassic era. And you know what? Now the whole world can fit in your pocket. That's right. It's your smartphone and the internet. All that, and the earliest written language was around only 5,000 years ago. So imagine if those reptiles have evolved 40 or 50 million years before us. What do you think they would have achieved so far in technology, space, etc.? Now, I know a scientist would say it's not possible for reptiles or dinosaurs to evolve, but according to the same science, we were apes. Also, religious people would say, no, it's impossible to believe, but yet they believe in angels, demons, heaven, and hell. I mean, they even launch wars and they die for something they haven't seen or cannot be even proven, but with just faith. And by the way, if you read your religious book, you would see that humans have passed through evolutions. We're not alone, and reptilians are also mentioned in many cultures and religions, and also some prophets have conversed with them. Speaking of contact, some claim that contacts with them, I mean the reptilians, almost always occur at the initiative of the reptilians. Now, this has prompted some researchers to suggest that the homeland of the reptilians is the Earth, and that presently they live in the depth. According to the views of these researchers, the reptilians originated on Earth about 60 million years ago as a result of evolution of one species of lizards, and as I said before, it is probable. In legends of ancient Sumerian, Babylonian, Egyptian, and Greek refer to the serpent deity who were believed to have once resided in the underworld. The Garden of Eden, in this context, take on an additional interest and significance possibly of high importance. Also, legends from Australia and the Pacific Islands offer numerous references to the serpent deities or beings who were anciently associated with the creation enigma. And the spiral serpent symbol is found throughout the Pacific and is associated universally with the creation enigma. From earliest days, the serpent symbol is to be seen in many parts of the world. But undoubtedly, the most fascinating portrayal is a detail on the Egyptian magical papyrus in the British Museum depicting a serpent encompassed by ray-emitting disc. The most unusual form of the serpent symbol is a spiral representing a coiled snake. It has been discovered as petroglyphs and other pictorial representations in Britain, Greece, Malta, and Egypt, and as pottery designs in New Mexico, and also as ground drawings on the Nazca Line Plateau or the Nazca Plateau, Peru, and throughout the Pacific Islands. And also the Aborigine legends indicate that the serpent beings were not above waging war, and is also mentioned in the Hindu legends of the Nagas, which are serpent beings who came from one of 7 worlds, and 7 worlds are also mentioned in the Bible and the Quran. And also linking other legends, the civilization of reptilians has evolved and reached an extremely high level of development. They went to space, where came into competition with representatives of alien races that mastered our solar system. Apparently, the reptilians were not the strongest in this competition. They lost control of the Earth to another alien race, better known as the Nordic aliens, another name, the tall white aliens. Subsequently, these aliens have taken care of the appearance of people on Earth, but I will leave that for another day, because it's another topic and a bigger topic than this. Wars of the Earth between reptilians and the white gods were many, and the most ancient civilizations had preserved the memory of the battle in their culture. Especially a lot of these wars are mentioned in the Mahabharata, the Indian epic, which says Vimanas, which is the flying ships, approached the earth with incredible speed and released many arrows. Glittering like gold, thousands of lightning, roar published by them, was like thunder from thousands of drums. It was as if the elements had been unleashed. The sun spun round, scorched by the incandescent heat of the weapon. The world reeled in fever. Elephants were set on fire by the heat and ran into a frenzy to seek protection from the terrible violence. The water boiled, the animals died, the enemy was mown down, and the raging of the blaze made the trees collapse in roars as in a forest fire. Horses and war chariots were burnt up, and the scene looked like the aftermath of a conflagration. Thousands of chariots were destroyed. Then deep silence descended on the sea. The winds began to blow, and the earth grew bright. It was a terrible sight to see. The corpses of the fallen were mutilated by the terrible heat, so that they no longer looked like human beings. Never before have we seen such ghastly weapon, and never before have we heard of such weapon. End quote. Now, the weapon of the gods, which is mentioned, it's very similar to a nuclear. Talking about the wars of the gods and the myth of the battle of the Greek god Marduk with the dragon Tiamat, the struggle of the Slavic god Perun with the Snake King, and the battle of the ancient Egyptian god Ra with the serpent of Apop. All myths even said that the snake was defeated in the war, expelled into the earth in his kingdom. In our time, scientists have discovered many kilometers of underground tunnels and mines in all parts of the world. And even some tunnels have walls made of an unknown material, perhaps covering the entrance of their cities, almost identical to what Phil Schneider explained around 30 years ago, before they axed him, of course. So if you want, also go on YouTube and type Phil Schneider. He used to be an engineer and he used to work on some deep underground military bases, dams, and some underground tunnels. Very interesting. Also, that reminds me of the book of Revelation, chapter 12, verse 7 to 9. Quote, "And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon. The dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him." End quote. Of course, the angels of the dragon, or the reptilian. Also from the legends of the Indians of Peru, it said that the path of the cave system, Chincanas, lead to the underworld where lives the mighty civilization of amphibious serpent people. In appearance, which look like a man and a snake, and also in the 20th century, in these caves disappeared several dozens of adventurers, and only few of them managed to get out of there. From their stories can be understood that in the depths of the earth, they met with strange creatures. Now, in mythology, these creatures are known as Naga. Naga was half reptilian to the waist, but instead of legs, they had a snake's tail. This can be easily also found on many Egyptian holographs, where you see a snake and in another frame a human being or a human, and another frame half a human, half snake. It's depicting hybridization between reptiles and humans. You can also see some Egyptian gods with a crocodile head or a snake. You see, such sophisticated civilization as the Egyptians will not leave such hieroglyphs as a form of art or graffiti. These things had meanings to them. Even theologically speaking, the Egyptian pharaohs had done some horrible things. Or why would God send Moses there? I mean, the Ark of the Covenant, etc. And if you read the Old Testament and the Quran, you would know what I'm talking about. Read chapter 3, verse 119 from the Quran, and you would clearly see it's talking about genetic manipulation and other hybridization. Just get out of the theological 1500 years interpretation and read it from a scientific point of view, because probably that was their way of telling things to people who didn't understand the technology we have today, or at least we can understand today. Besides, most of these religious books really are poorly translated into English. But anyway, the mythology of Naga has very ancient roots. They depict the head and the torso of a man and the tail of a serpent. Their images are available on the bas-reliefs of Angkor in Cambodia, on the bridge of the Nagas in the temple in Thailand, and in Egypt, and many other places. Now, a while ago, I read something called the Lacerta files. You can easily find it online. Just Google the Lacerta files. You'll find it as a PDF or a transcript of it. It's about an interview with supposedly a reptilian back in the 90s. Well, I know. I thought it might be a hoax too. And if it is a hoax, it's a damn good one. But I was honestly surprised, because the amount of the scientific and historical facts are astonishing. I mean, otherwise I will not waste 2 hours of my life on some rubbish. So, but I highly recommend you read it, and you can also find it in an audible format. Try YouTube, and lots of things will make sense once you link them to history, physics, and theology. You see, there are lots of evidence of the existence of such race, even in the monotheistic beliefs. You know the story of Adam and Eve and the serpent, etc. And there is also a fascinating verse in the Quran, chapter 2, verse 30, where God was telling his angels that he's gonna create a species referring to mankind or humans. The angels actually asked, "Oh Lord, why you create who will cause mischief and shed blood?" I mean, if such epic wasn't witnessed before, why would they ask that? Now, I know some people would tell me the verse says, "I am creating or making a placement on earth." That means the verse is saying that humans are the replacement of something else. But can it be a new batch of a previous creation was already here? I mean, as an updated version of something was already here? Or could it be replacing the Neanderthals with the modern human around 10,000 years ago, which is around the time Adam and Eve were here? Or is it something like genetic modification? Well, we'll leave that for another day, but certainly not next week. Next week, we'll talk about why passion isn't enough, because this topic has been on my mind for a while, and some of our students, especially the life management training and the NLP practitioner training, they often ask about passion and how important passion is to achieve your dream. And actually, I really wanted to record an episode like that because many people also will benefit from such topic. But we got caught up with these weird topics. So if we cover the passion topic and why passion isn't enough next week it would be episode 50. And before we take 1 week break, because as you know, or if you don't know already, that every 10 weeks or every 10 episodes, there is 1 week or 1 episode as a break. And then we get back to continue where we stopped. So basically we have covered the major points about this topic, and we might come across other few points in future episodes about this topic. And I think, or actually I believe, we have way past our runtime for sure. So let's wrap it up, and that's it for today. And once again, if you would like to study and become a fully qualified hypnotherapist, neurolinguistic programming, NLP, life coach or counselor, now you can study all that totally online. All you have to do is visit mti.edu.au or themindtechinstitute.com. You'll find all these courses along with many other courses online. Just click on the online courses tab, and all our diplomas and advanced diplomas are accredited and recognized worldwide. And for more information, of course, you can always visit themindtechinstitute.com. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, as always, you can email me. The email is on our website, themindtechinstitute.com. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, especially if you are listening to this podcast on YouTube. The Dynamic Thinking Project podcast is released every Friday. Until next time, take care and enjoy your weekend. This is Adam Muselli, signing out.